Hey, welcome to First Light, your fantasy football podcast. It's first thing in the morning, Monday morning. That's what it's going to be like, even before the Monday night game. We got a lot of games to go through, so I'm going to jump right in. Okay, we're going to have the matchup this time: the Steelers versus the Jets. And I think the story of the game here, obviously, I think is Aaron Rodgers. He's got everything he wants. It's got the coach fired. I mean, whose fault is it going to be now? I mean, you got to look at his track record. He's always done this on every team he's been on. He's the greatest salesman at not selling himself like toxic, but obviously he is. So what I'll do is I'll just run some highlights here, and we won't look at the entire thing. But what we will do is talk a little more football and keep those things fresh. It's going to be a little bit, amateur hour here, but we're going to really focus in on what's the most important thing. I think there's this one play in the game. I hope they show it here, but just completely, I do want to talk about this real quick before I get into this. If there's one play in the game that truly captures the story of the game, the story of the Jets season, it's this one play where the Jets managed to get to the goal line, right? And I'm not even sure the play before that because that doesn't really matter when I tell you this. But what happened was the Jets coach, the head coach, the acting head coach there, I forget his name, but he tried so hard to throw a challenge flag. And luckily for all Jets fans, he screws up and tries to throw it, but it falls right next to him. And when it does, the Jets hike the ball and they score before he could throw it on the field. And the reason why that stands out is because, all it takes is for the coach to, chew gum and walk at the same time. Can you do two things at the same time? Because can you try and throw your challenge flag while reading what's going on the field? Aaron Rodgers was quite literally accelerating everything pregame to the snap because he saw something. Obviously, he saw something he liked, as demonstrated by the easy touchdown that was thrown to the left on I think it was the tight end Conklin there, but almost completely undone by the coach trying so hard to throw that challenge flag. So they in fact by default scored by mistake, and that just tells you exactly what's going on with the Jets this year. Just cannot get out of their own way. Russell Wilson, on the other hand, he looked really good. I think that the Jets, definitely made it a lot easier because they just had very little success against him. But what we saw with Russell Wilson was lightning fast decision making, which you could see, with 37 points scored at the end of this one, how valuable that was to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Breece Hall looked really good yesterday for the first time in a long time. There we see Rodgers hooking up with Devontae. Those two look like they're gonna start getting going. But like I said, overall the play it turned out to be a blowout, and it didn't shape up that way in the beginning. In fact, the Jets were winning. I like to see this. I saw a lot of this yesterday. It was a close call. The Jets were up at halftime, and that's when I fell asleep. I'm not gonna lie, I was so tired. But to see it turn into a blowout. It was an absolute surprise in the morning. Nice to see that they're still going with Garrett Wilson. We're going to fast forward a little bit here, show you some other plays. There's the play we're talking about right there. That's the tight end Conklin catch the ball. Everyone, the announcers, going crazy because the coaching staff came that close to screwing it up, and at the very least, the Jets felt good about going up a 2-point conversion. The Jets at this point looking really, really good. It's too bad it just fell apart at the seams after this. Also, the Pittsburgh Steelers special team and defense in general. I mean, the defense was within a yard of running one all the way back. They blocked 2 punts. One of them was called back. But that's what I'm talking about right there. That lightning fast throw to the outside by Russell Wilson in the face of pressure. That's not something you're going to see from Fields. So I think that what the Steelers are saying is, we'll take that drop off when it comes to moving with those legs, but we'll take the quick decision making. They see that obviously as more valuable. You saw Pickens involved a lot yesterday, and then and Lazard again, the New York Packers. You're gonna get your throws that are gonna highlight and feature your skill, Aaron Rodgers. But at the end of the day, look at this. This is right into the arms of the Pittsburgh Steelers defender. Absolutely no clue why he threw it there. Who are you going to blame now, Aaron Rodgers? And the Steelers, they capitalized. They hear that they were trailing here, but the Jets defense, as famed as they are for being one of the top defenses in the NFL, I haven't seen that in the last 2 or 3 games, or even since the beginning of the season, honestly. And this is just a beautiful throw by Russell Wilson, again featuring why the Steelers may have opted to go with him, as in fact being the stronger option that they have in their arsenal. So, moving on from them, so we saw the Steelers just completely dominate the Jets, so we'll get rid of that. Steelers doing an excellent job, no matter who's behind the helm there. This one's going to hurt, but I'm just going to go ahead and point out that the Chiefs are back there for a reason. The Chiefs and the 49ers squaring up again. And I have to say that, I'm going to call it what it is. They have our number. The Chiefs definitely have our number. I'm just going to go ahead and do it now because it's just an absolute travesty what went on there. Story of the game here was just basically the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense, if there's been something consistent about them the whole year, it's been exactly that. They're absolutely, I'm sorry, that's not at all what I wanted to see, but I'll get to going. But, the 49ers were decimated with injuries at the receiving position still. There's a reason why they have that rushing attack, but against the Chiefs defense, it just did not work out. Here we see Purdy in the beginning of the game feeding it to the fullback, Juszczyk, and you thought at that point that we were going to see, the right kind of game plan, but Mahomes did not look good. He had a couple of plays, but 2 interceptions that definitely saved the day with his legs. But that's what makes the Chiefs that much more scarier, is that they're winning, and Mahomes is having very little impact on the games in terms of those. Plays like that. I mean, we're not used to seeing that. Of course, we're not used to seeing this kind of receiving core around him. But as the game went on, here we saw a fake punt attempt by the Chiefs that the 49ers absolutely snuffed out. So good things were happening. Let me see Mahomes with a long throw here to, I think that's, I'm not sure, Gray. So you saw the occasional good throws like that, but it was just mainly, Brock Purdy had a terrible game, and this is the part of the Chiefs' defense that's quite scary. They won't give you that yard. At 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, you're not getting it. 4th and 1, don't even think about it. Again, Mahomes in seemingly a lot of trouble and getting sacked. So it was a lot of opportunities for the 49ers to pull ahead in certain points, and they just couldn't do it. I think that it's safe to say that the Chiefs are without a doubt. You have to say they're the strongest team in the NFL right now. Look at this. I mean, there was a point in the game, towards the end of the game, that the Chiefs just absolutely ran the ball down the Niners' defense throat, and you don't see that a lot. And they held on to the ball there in the beginning of the 4th quarter. You see improvised plays like this. That's what Mahomes is going to do for you. He's not going to be your fantasy champion, but he's going to move forward with the team. They're always going to just keep moving forward. And here's an excellent play by Kareem Hunt. Just comes off the street and just has back-to-back amazing games. And from right here forward, it was just like all Chiefs. There's just that bulldozing his way in. It's just, so I gotta say that the Chiefs are impressive on all facets of the game. They see Purdy finding Kittle. Kittle had a decent game. But as we move on, you see Purdy also just not in command of his throws. Most of the game, another great throw. I mean, Kittle had like a 20-point game if you had him in fantasy. And there was the terrible injury to Ayuk. You'll see it coming up right here. Catches it and bam, his knee is just out there. I mean, in slow motion, he's going to be out for the rest of the year. So you saw a lot of different things that don't look good for the 49ers. But the Chiefs look legit. I'll take my hat off to them. They did a terrific job at staying true to what they do best. The next game I'm going to talk about is the Panthers and the Redskins, which they will forever be for me. This game, story of the game here has to be Jaden Daniels getting hurt. It doesn't look, by the way he was reacting during the game and after the game, it didn't look that serious. It looks like they were going to be smart and not getting more injured. If they were playing anyone else except for the Panthers, you would be a little more worried. But, at this point in the game, it looked like the Panthers were onto something. They always come out like a legit, contender. You wonder how much of that is really just a game script because just about when they get going, something always happens to kind of, set them back. Andy Dalton no longer able to just kind of correct the mistakes like he did when he first came. And then you see stuff like this. And this was terrific for me because I did have the Redskins defense in one of my leagues. Correctly thought that they would do something like this against the Panthers. See if we can see where Jane Daniel gets hurt. Here you see another angle of that interception by Fowler Jr. Just a few little shimmies. But I think that in the long run, I think this injury to Daniels is going to be kind of like the best thing. I feel like he's going to it's going to click that you got to get out of bounds and stop taking these tremendous hits, and you're not going to have broken ribs like that. So once again, you see that Dalton is just out completely. Quick fact about the Redskins, they're the first team in I don't know how long to have consecutive 200 passing, 200 rushing games. And there you can see Daniels was just like, at this point I thought, oh man, is he just soft? But he was laying down. He was laying down after rushes like he did not want to get touched. And then even when he threw the ball, you could see him wincing in pain, so you wondered what was going on. It's a wonder that the Redskins played as well as they did, even without Daniels. But it's sad to see him go. You see Mariota. Mariota came in, had a terrific game. Nice to see that. Those of you that followed him from the Ducks and even into his Falcon days and his Tennessee games, in some facets they were just you're not going to be in sync with the quarterback you're not used to receiving the balls from. But that's what makes the Redskins so deadly, is that they're so balanced. Robinson Jr. Just right up the gut. They're not trying to get too fancy with you. They're going to go right up the middle and they're going to try and take your soul. And that's what they did. They did it all game long. I was extremely impressed with how the Redskins kept their composure even with the lead. They're showing the NFL at large right now that they're not going to they're not going to give any games away. It's nice to see in general for the NFL because the Redskins fan base for so long have suffered so much. Even right down to the name being stolen right from under them. So there we go with that one. Then when we see the Eagles and the Giants game, which I gotta say has to be one of my favorite. Unfortunately, even with I bought two sets of these, and I'm still missing some, so I'm gonna have to. Which in this case is kind of makes sense after what happened yesterday. But what I'll say about here, and I'm just gonna do this right now because there's no need to prolong this. The Eagles absolutely clicking on all cylinders. I think my favorite storyline of this game is obviously Saquon going back to New York. And man, did they feed him? They fed him. And the Giants' defense, it's a shame. It's a shame that the polarity that exists between the offense and defense, because as good as their defense is, their offense is just as bad in the other direction. And you can see that the Eagles' defense just feasted all game long here. I think that when you see what Barkley's about to do to the Giants, you just really wonder if the owner doesn't want to go into the front office right now and just say, all of you leave right now, and have security escort every single one of them all the way home, because the kind of plays that Barkley was able to bust out yesterday involved elite speed that you don't just there he is scoring. It's kind of like a pile pusher there. But it involves the elite speed that you don't find. You just don't find that easily in the NFL. It's kind of a wonderful thing here to see him just get in there. But he had a very impressive game. And there you see Hurts just launching one. This is also good to see for me or any of you A.J. Brown owners. Just right down the sideline, made it look so easy. And there's the head coach of the Eagles, just going crazy. Happy to have a job. Here comes that. Look, Daniel Jones launching one, and that one should have been intercepted. And where are you throwing it? There's, I think, 3 Eagles there. But that's what you're left to contend with if you're a Giants fan. Again, the Giants defense showing up, but there's only so much they can do. They can't sack the quarterback and score the touchdown every time. When it was 14-0, you kept thinking like maybe they have a shot here. Neighbors involved early. It looked a little bit good. And then you had a touchdown, and I think that was called back, then they settled for a field goal. And that could have been really different game at the end. You go down 14-7 in the first half. But if for nothing else, I think it was just the kind of game that you kind of look at and you say, we're going to move on because I don't want to take too long. But I think that Saquon is definitely, gonna stay impressing the rest of the season. Now, our next game that I'm gonna show you is gonna be between the Dolphins and the Colts. Storyline there again. I can believe, but the Dolphins are really, they are bedridden to one guy, and that guy is bedridden right now. So it goes to show you, how important it is to not put your eggs all in one basket. I picked the Colts myself. The game was a tumultuous battle back and forth. The Colts going Richardson. He's not being that much help right now. You almost hope that he doesn't lose you the game. But as we start to see the highlights, you can see that, it was going to be this kind of game. It's just a complete launch. And the Dolphins defensive back at this point should have been, licking their chops because, Richardson's throwing that ball up for grabs, And as we move forward a little bit, we don't want to watch necessarily these plays, but I think that what you saw and I'm shocked to say this, but what you saw with the Dolphins was a lack of creativity in their offense. You gotta be creative. You gotta be creative with the cheetah speed, but they're not doing any of that. Richardson dropping back, running for his life, but he's always gonna do that, which is why I started him in my leagues. He got you the first down. You just hope he doesn't break his pelvis on the way down. But he's very proud of himself there, but he just needs to focus on staying in the pocket and making better lead. And then stuff like this. It's just so aggravating. Literally, runs away from the ball. No easier play than the handoff. The Dolphins are looking like they have fresh life after that one. But then what are you going to do? What are you going to do with Huntley back there? And Huntley will get you the occasional first down, and you'll get this and that. Jonnu Smith actually having a beautiful first half yesterday. This is when you had a little bit of hope. If you're the Dolphins up 7-0, if you're able to go and get on top of them by 2 scores at this point in the game, there you saw. I think Achane just move up a little bit. There's another play here where Richardson actually makes a good play. And this was most of the game. Most of the game was small plays like that. And I think that what you're seeing when you look at the Dolphins and the Colts, you're seeing 2 teams that are fighting for their lives. The Dolphins are 2-4, which I actually feel like, wow, it could be a lot worse. 2-4, able to stay in these sort of close back and forth games, which is good to see. But you wonder how much you can put on Tua as soon as he comes back. And you see a long field goal. This is what got the Colts back in the game. So the Colts absolutely doing what they have to do to take care of the fish. Which I have to say, you shouldn't say the fish when you call them dolphins. Dolphins are in fact a mammal. But, that's one of the many misnomers that they need to take care of and address before they can even begin to have any of the meaningful changes they need on the field itself. Here we see another play by Huntley. This one, you felt like, what's going on? He doesn't even know where the ball is. Doesn't even know it's in the air, And for all intents and purposes, for me, with Richardson, it looked like he was like practicing, like he was doing things against a defense that he didn't really respect. So he was doing a lot of really sort of like things that you don't really expect to see from your quarterback. in terms of like, but he's doing most of those things because I think he's just not really secure back there. He's not really. I think this was a terrific. I think they called this back actually. No, they didn't. They didn't. That was another play by the Dolphins defense doing everything they can to keep their guys in the game. Here you see Wright, which is actually having a pretty good, solid season with the opportunities he's getting, shaping up to be the healthiest of Dolphins running backs. And you see another breakout, almost scored on that one. The Dolphins had a chance. They really had a chance. 10-10 game here, you can see through the third. Taking a little bit longer on this one because I know you are a Dolphins fan, Christian. And then so Richardson, he can make those good plays. If Mitchell stays in bounds, you can probably get 10, 20 more yards there. This is the beginning of the fourth. The Colts moving back. You see Mitchell, and then this is a trick play that really got them the first down, but for that much trickery, you're hoping it's a little bit more. But in the fourth quarter, you're protecting yourself from the Dolphins coming back, and the Colts able to win it with a couple of field goals late in the game. Not too much more to show in that game, but as we saw, the Colts making quick work of the Dolphins in the fourth, shutting out the Dolphins for the entire second half, which is not a good sign. As we move on, we're going to move on to the Packers and the Texans. Packers and Texans. This was a great matchup on paper before the games even started. You didn't know what you were going to get, but I did not expect, I'm going to say that, I did not expect what I saw from the Texans. I think Stroud only had 86 yards passing, which is a career low, I think, anywhere he's played. But it goes to speak to the strength of the Packers defense, which is exactly what I thought would happen. I picked them in my pick'ems, and it came down to a last-second field goal. That goes to show you the depth and the strength of the Texans, because even in situations like that, they did everything to hand that game over yesterday. They could have won it still. All it took was Packers, here you see Jordan Love in the beginning of the game, making tremendous throws, tremendous reads. This Packers helmet is breaking off, but anyways, the thing with Love that I saw yesterday was that as well as he was throwing, man, he's going to throw those interceptions. And you just hope, like right there, you just hope that he doesn't do it in a part of the field. And I was very happy that he was at least able to slow that guy down, not a pick six, but this close to being a pick six. That's as simple as telegraphing your throws. He didn't look anywhere else but that area. Two Texas defenders, the ball was knocked up, and they're looking for that. And Stroud looking like, he's going to be up to, his usual ways, but no, that Packers defense, man, they're like wolves. They come after you. Story of the game here, I think easily can be said was, just the resiliency of this game. This game changed leads a lot. Here you see Jordan Love again backpedaling, able to get 5 of the 7 yards he needed there. And we move forward. We see Stroud, 3rd and 1. I think just picks it up here. Always going to have his legs under him. What was very surprising is that Mixon had a terrific game yesterday, but they did not translate into the Texans being able to keep the ball for very long. Also, the Packers defense, you have to like the fact that they limited the Texans to 3 points in the second half. So it's for a 4-2 game going for a 4-2 team going into that game. You wouldn't expect it to see that. We're still in the first here. Love finding, I believe, in this one was Dobbs right here. And what I really like in that's going on in Green Bay is the connection that we're seeing between Love and his tight end, Kraft. This one right here is Melton. Anyone but Watson is what I'm learning. Anyone but Watson. Watson is a sure drop this week. If you have him, drop him. They're not even trying to hit. This is always a mess. This always a mess, And I think in this situation, it worked out really beautifully for the Texans. But as we move forward, we see more highlights. This is very cool to see because you don't see a lot of run backs in the NFL anymore. But I think if you just run some back, good things could happen. And in a game where field position is everything, you really needed to, take those chances, run a few balls back. But anyways, as we move forward through the highlights, I think that the Packers showed everybody, I think, that they're a serious team. They're going to stay in those games. That Packers defense is going to make it easy for them to take advantage of field position opportunities. I think Jordan Love has 2 touchdowns now, and I don't know how many, but again, you're susceptible to those kind of throws. That throw was so high above, there was no way his guy was going to get it, and it just sailed into the DB's chest, really. And no one to blame but himself on that. And no matter what the Texans did yesterday, at least in the air, they couldn't do nothing. But this is what I'm talking about. Mixon had a tremendous day, and I think that was the key to the Texans hopefully winning was, and again, the Packers defense, really the reason for the Packers' success. It was amazing. Fun fact here, Jacobs, that's his first receiving touchdown ever. All that time, all that success in Las Vegas, and still, that's his first receiving touchdown. Stroud, just a little quick in the feet. If you see him having happy feet, your feet are not on the ground, you're not having a lot of force behind those throws. That millisecond or so that requires is in play right there in plays like that, and plays that you just have to have. And here you go, a terrific play by the Texans defense, snuffing that out on 3rd and 1. And the game was a tremendous game, and it's one of those games that you knew was going to finish exactly the way it did. It was going to finish depending on who had the ball last. And in that situation right here, you saw it was 21-19, and the Texans needing a big play here. But the whole game, Stroud, if you're backpedaling the whole time, that's what you're going to get. Good, you got the first down, but you're just right in front of it every time. After a while, it catches up with you. So we saw the Texans pulling up ahead, but they couldn't stop Green Bay at the end. And here's where Love, for the most part in these situations, is mistake free. That was just a violent tackle right there. I felt like it was going to be a lot worse. You saw a flag come in, and then here you go for the game winner. They just got this guy 2 weeks ago, kicks it right down the middle for the game winner. And it's kind of a cheap win, but at the same time a meaningful win, for the Packers. A lot of things went wrong, and they still were able to pull it off. So you got to give a little bit of credit to that resiliency. So next game we're going to talk about is a game I was very excited about seeing because of the whole Amari Cooper thing, but the Bills and the Titans, and this was just an absolute mauling again from the Bills. It's nice to see Allen with a few more options now in Buffalo. I think that the running attack has a little more balance to it now. And you could see there, the first play of the game, they tried to go to Cooper. That was encouraging to see, but got them a little while to get going. In fact, for most of the first half, the Titans were leading this one. And there's ridiculous helmets there. I just cannot stand the look of those. Just a terrible quarterback play by the Titans, which is, it's what's going to happen. Any of you Hopkins owners, let him go. Let him go. I'm telling you, let him go. The Tennessee Titans, I'm going to spend very little time on this game. Just an absolute terrible situation they find themselves in. Winning 10-7 after the first half. But as you can see, they took the lead here. But, just not able to put anything else together the whole game. Coleman had a huge game, so that was good to see. And you can just see how even just the presence of Amari Cooper is going to open up that passing game for the Buffalo Bills. And then you have a strong runner. And I believe that was Cook. Yeah. And right when you're playing all the receivers, you're cutting out their routes, you're pressing them at the line. It's going to come right down the middle for a touchdown. So I think this was maybe one of the only catches. But look, another example of just a rookie quarterback not knowing what to do. Basically just bowled it right to the Bills defense. In a game that you're winning 10-7, And it's just the good fortune of the Bills to have that kind of lack of cohesiveness going on over there with Tennessee. I don't see anything really changing over there outside of a veteran quarterback coming in, but they got Ridley, they got Hopkins, they got a good tight end. That line is definitely a problem in the run game. So again, you can bring in whoever you want, but unless you're addressing some of those issues in the trenches, it doesn't matter. You might be in games, and that's the thing. That's the thing with the Titans that really bothers me, is that they're good enough to be in games. This is just a terrible play call, 3rd and 1. Oh, don't do that. But they're not going to have enough to sustain those games, those wins. So again, not going to spend too much time here. Not a lot of highlights. But in this case, this was nice to see. Right here, that was Amari Cooper. Right down the middle of the end zone. It's just nice to see come in and learn the playbook that quick. It's just very encouraging to see that. Next, we're going to move on to the Seahawks and the Falcons. And, this game was a little bit... I didn't see it coming. I really didn't see it coming. I think the Seahawks have proven themselves to be quite formidable, but I didn't think they were going to blow out the Falcons. I think it was quite a battle the whole game, back and forth, at least through the first half. But at a certain point, you just saw that, I think the Seahawks are a little bit more sound than the Falcons are at this point. The Falcons not able to muster much offense, only one touchdown each side of the half. And again, a little bit concerned with Metcalf's injury at the end of the game. You hope it's nothing major. But a terrific sign as much as that went to him. And it just seemed like the Seahawks just completely unloaded all of their load on the Falcons, especially through the air, which I think now we're starting to see that. But the Seahawks are for real. They're gonna throw it in the air. They're gonna run it right down the middle, and they're gonna do terrific things against some of these teams that are sort of in limbo. It's just more against the tougher opponents you want to see that the Seahawks doing better in. This guy had a terrific game. It's just, he had one play, and I hope it comes up here in these highlights, where he just completely juked out the entire Seahawks defense, and made them look almost Barry Sanders-like in the way. And this is Koo missing a field goal. So you saw a lot of things that you're not used to seeing with the Falcons. You saw happen yesterday. Not taking advantage of opportunities. There's a terrific play. Things you're not supposed to do. Running to your right, throwing to your left. Not supposed to do that, but Geno Smith, making that happen. So in this situation, you see Robinson again. If you can go to Robinson, you can lead with Robinson. You have to have a little more diversity to your game plan to be successful. Nice to see Cousins going to London, also going to Pitts a lot. And in these kinds of situations, the Falcons are going to win. They're going to win those. First and goals, second and goals with Robinson there. Again, here's Pitts. Just absolutely needing to explode more towards the first down marker, in my opinion, so the Falcons can maintain possession of the ball. But all day long, you saw examples of this. You just saw Lockett, you saw Najigba, you saw Metcalf wide open on most plays, and constantly marching down the field, and again being their own worst enemies in some situations. But for the most part, being able to rely on those Seahawk receivers to find those holes in the coverage. The Falcons, they dropped back a lot. Just kind of, the offense of the Seahawks taking what you're giving them, but you gave them a lot. You saw Fant really come alive in this game. He's been quiet for most of the season. And the thing that I walk away with the most is the touchdown, right? That was nice to see from Metcalf. What I'm walking away the most with this game from is how comfortable Geno Smith looked in the pocket. And again, a lot of that can be up to like the lack of pressure towards the quarterback from the Falcons, but I think in general that's been something that the Seahawks have been affording the Geno Smith most of the season. And then this is just, an absolute crazy, look at this, 4 Atlanta Falcon defenders and you're able to split them right up the middle. That is inexcusable, and great for the tandem of Geno Smith and Metcalf. You want to see Metcalf stay involved. Again, a little bit injured at the end of the game. I don't think it's anything serious, but that's pretty much the way the game went. The game was, not as close as even the 34-14 sounds. After this, we'll go into the Patriots and the Jaguars. The Patriots and Jaguars playing in London, first game of the day. Pretty good matchup, you thought on paper. Both teams 1-5, but again, one of those games where the team that you didn't expect to pull out in front in the beginning, but the Jaguars just kept biting until they just did away with the Patriots. And what you did see that was positive was May. It's been a while since you've seen a quarterback from the Patriots side composed and throwing it in tight windows. I think that Hunter Henry owners can be happy to say, okay, we got a real one back there that's gonna find him. But I think that crazily enough, I think it was really the defense of the Patriots that really let them down. So like I said, they were up in the beginning. I think they were up 7-0 after the first, but and then right when you're starting to believe a little bit in what the Patriots have to offer, they gave up 22 in the second quarter. I mean, they gave up a whole game's worth of points in one quarter. You better have an explosive offense if you're going to do that, and they certainly don't. So, it's a young team. Everyone understands that, but almost here to see when they scored. But when you have a young team, score 22 on them in one quarter, it's going to be hard for them to fight back from that. Not at this point. And the Jags looking a little bit better than they did last week for sure. That's their last game in London. Again, their record is only I believe 2-5 now. So while you saw a lot of good things, you wonder how it's going to be against the rest of the league. I think that a lot of people are saying the Jaguars have all the pieces. They have the tight ends, they have the running backs. You have the quarterback supposed to be one of the best in the league. So if they're not having success, you got to ask yourself what else could be the reason for that. As you saw the Patriots going really heavy on the passes to the running backs, but again, it did not result in a lot of points. At this point in the game, they were still in command. Lawrence drops back and makes a terrific throw to Brian Thomas Jr. A lot of the Brian Thomas Jr. owners are very happy with that, and that guy has just done a tremendous job at splitting those deep backs in half and just being in position to use his quickness and his great hands to make great catches deep down the field. You saw Bigsby have a tremendous game. Anyone even know what happened to Etienne? I heard rumors that he might be going to the Cowboys, but if he does, the Jaguars look to be in good shape because look at this guy. This guy is just bowling through people, and in the last 2 or 3 weeks, or I think it was the last 2 weeks or 4 weeks, I heard he has the most yards per rush in the league, especially after contact. So he's just kind of bulldozing his way. A lot of the early predictors that he would be successful are really looking good right now. And you can see the London fans happy with their Jaguars. At least they're not going to lose both games in London this year. And this was pretty much what you can the blueprint for the Patriots. You can run up the middle, and most of those guys after that play were on their feet, and that's a bad sign. You want to see guys getting in together and again, this was outside, stepped on the white line, almost a terrific touchdown by Kirk, but at the end of the day, had to settle for the field goal. As you moved on in the game, it just became clear that the Jaguars, what were they going to do? They were just going to run it down the middle. They were going to limit their mistakes because that's pretty much what's been going on with the Jags. If this is their game, but obviously it has to be compatible with their offensive line. Their offensive line is strong, not that strong, definitely stronger than the Patriots' defensive line. So they were able to, really kind of. And here you see your 4th and 1, and actually, at this point, the Patriots actually did fight back strong, valiantly, and held them here, and it was in the 4th quarter, and you thought the game could turn here, because They held them right there. They had the game. They actually were able to, later on, I'm not going to spend too much more time on this game because it just was not that good a game, but they were able to go march down, score a touchdown. They were within 8 points, and then they just kind of, once again, just kind of stopped playing. And that's what's going on between, let me see if I can get this one now. That's what went on in that game. So, next game I'll talk about is the Saints and the Broncos. I actually picked the Saints on this one, and boy was I wrong. So, this might not be the highlight I want, but let me see. I'm going to try and get this better next week. Well, for that one, I just have to talk about it. But the Saints and Broncos, yeah, I'll just talk about it. Saints and Broncos. I mean, we saw the story of this game. I think was definitely the Broncos team in general. I mean, nobody saw that team playing as collectively good as they have been playing. It was one of those games where it's a revenge game for the coach. Sean Payton going back to New Orleans. When you look at the absolute dominance, anyone that has Javonte Williams, I know that he got you all those points on the bench. I myself, also the guy's been struggling the entire year, goes to New Orleans and puts up just an amazing performance. I think 126 yards, absolutely, doing everything for the Broncos. And what you're learning about the Saints is that they can't stop the run. They can't stop the run whatsoever. And I think it's one of those things where it's a blueprint for the rest of the league in terms of how to beat the Saints. And now the Saints have lost 5 in a row. And I think going off of how they started, you can say, David Carr's hurt. They got a couple things, but still, by and large, they lost a huge weapon in Shaheed, who now is out for the season, it looks like. But the Broncos, very sneakily able to now I think that's probably three wins in a row for them. They're actually looking like somewhat of contenders in a very difficult division in the AFC East, West, 4-3, and in position right now to at least make some noise in terms of going for the playoffs. When it comes to those two, you have to really kind of take a look at their matchups moving forward. The next game I'm going to talk about is the Bengals and the Browns. Bengals and the Browns. A lot of people don't know this little fun fact, but the Browns, they're responsible for the Bengals existing. Browns used to have a coach named Brown, Mr. Brown, and there was a contract dispute. He wanted more control over the team. It was his team. Got into a fight with the city, moved his team to Cleveland. That's why Cleveland has the same colors. And there we go. And as you can see, the Bengals opened up in spectacular fashion. And they were not able to get this guy, if I remember correctly. And, that just kind of told you a little bit about how this game would be for the Browns, who, story of this game, obviously, Deshaun Watson getting hurt. As we all knew, that would open up the offense because it doesn't matter who you put back there. He's going to be a little bit less stunted than Deshaun Watson. A lot of the Cleveland fans are being given a hard time right now because they actually cheered. They actually cheered Deshaun's injury. But when you're playing that bad and when your team is being held that far back due to, just nothing more than, your lack of good play, they're going to cheer. They're not cheering that you're hurt. They're cheering that you're gone because they want to see their team win. They want to see all these pieces put into play. And as we saw yesterday with the Browns, once Deshaun Watson left, it was just a totally different offense. So here you see the Bengals deep in their part of the field, giving it to Chase, and Chase able to run around the outside. That's inexcusable, and that's just a lack of hustle on those ends of the Browns to get around the outside. Burrow looking very comfortable back there. You give him that much time, and you have Chase on your team, or Higgins in this case. You're going to have that. You're going to have a lot of that. Here you saw, the Browns once again getting stopped. Burrow going back, making a beautiful throw here. Incomplete, but they knew where they were going to attack this Cleveland Browns defense. And you see back here still, Deshaun still in the game. Just this is what you were expecting from him. And able to find Njoku, who had a huge game. It's good to see him. I just hope that he doesn't get hurt overnight like he usually does. But the Bengals continue to come back. It was a 7-0 game almost throughout the entire first half. And it wasn't even as close as the score says it was. And it's a 21-14 game. The Bengals completely had this game. The entire game was just completely in the right type of flow for them. And I want to see if we can get to the one where Deshaun got hurt. And I think it was around this point in the game. Might be the next play here. There he is, yeah. He's crying off the field. They're not going to show it. But he was crying because he knows he's out for a while. That's the Achilles. Probably crying because he's hearing the cheers from the fans. But that's what's going to happen when you're just not ready. And this quarterback for the Browns, I didn't really know about him, but he played a more than decent game yesterday, given the circumstances in which he came in. I wanted to see Winston play more, but you could see his decision-making was quick. It was decisive. It was exactly what you have not been seeing from Watson. So there you see he just holds the ball, takes off. I mean, he's running with a will to get somewhere. And you're just happy to see it. You're just happy to see it for the Cleveland fans. It didn't pan out to a win yesterday, but at 1-6, 0-3 at home, I think that the Browns, you have to give your fans a little bit, give them a little bit. And this situation is just an ugly situation because you didn't give him anything. It all happened through circumstance. If Watson doesn't get hurt, you're sticking with him because you're paying him $250 million. Why are you paying him $250 million? Because you're Cleveland. And that's where you put all your money. You put it into a failed venture. You don't even wait to see what kind of effect that whole litigation process, that whole mess that Watson got himself in. You didn't even wait to see how that was going to affect him. Another touchdown here by Jamar Chase. And when you see the defenders arguing with the refs, it's a good indicator that they're just frustrated, And as the Browns, again, another terrific play by the Bengals defense. In that situation, the Browns were just pressing. They were just, they were chomping at the bit, trying to stay in the game. And you ended up throwing the ball a little bit harder than you want to. You're trying to make things happen that don't exist. And here you see again the quarterback on a run, and you just wonder how smart it is for you to be sending the second string quarterback who looks really good, running as much as he is. Some of it running for his life. So you can't really blame him. But taking shots, and there's only so many of those you can take. If they do add up, here you have once again the Bengals with Jamar Chase always able to exploit the outside. We saw Moss bounce back, have a nice day, only 10 points, but better than 0 the other day. And what you did see is you saw the Browns moving back and forth up the field. Throws like that don't need to be made, but this is, again, the inexperience taking over the athleticism in that situation. The Bengals did a terrific job with their game plan at making sure that, they just kept that clock moving. Again, not too much more to see. You just see Winston come in at the end and throw a touchdown pass to Njoku. That was good to see. I'm happy about that. The game of the week for me definitely has to be the Vikings and the Lions. This game, the Vikings undefeated, the Lions with 1 loss. I did pick the Lions. The Lions did away with the Vikings. It looked for a while there like the Vikings were going to pull this off, but it was just not to be. The Lions just relentless. Again, came down to the very end. Montgomery, there was a scare there where we thought he was hurt. Turned out he wasn't hurt, so that was good to see. And the Minnesota's defense pretty much doing everything they can to keep the offense on the field. And you know what was very encouraging here, you saw a touchdown by Gibbs, just a tremendous long run, able to exploit the backfield for Minnesota, and just with a quick few moves that only he can really make at those speeds and keep going at those speeds. And you saw a tremendous play by Gibbs yesterday. Lions starting to have a lot more confidence in him, and then here's Darnold doing what he can with his legs. And you know, it was a back and forth game. You definitely saw that you know, Minnesota's worthy of that 5-0 record now, 5-1. To lose at home, that's tough. And to lose to a divisional opponent like the Lions, that's tough. So that squarely puts the Lions all the way on top. As you see here, this is one of the plays that really stands out because that play gets made on 39. And Branch, I have in sleeper. A tremendous part of that defense and the success that they're having belongs to Branch. As you saw, you know, Amar St. Brown having a terrific game. Really needed a game like that. Took away a lot of potential plays from Jameson Williams, but it's okay. It was a back and forth game. You saw a lot of good things from Aaron Jones. Able to run down the side right here, looking very good, especially coming off a hip injury. I know a lot of the fantasy owners for him are happy with what they saw. And then, you know, when Darnold drops back, and he has that much time, this play right here, I'm not even going to blame Darnold. This is terrific play by Branch. He's not even in the picture. He just kind of like swoops in at the last second and just nabs that out of the air. And just, you know, you feel for Darnold. He made the right read there. It's just did not execute correctly. And when the Lions can continue answering with Gibbs and Montgomery the way they are, hard to prepare for that, and also prepare for what's going through the air. As Laporta, you're seeing him being more and more involved in the offense. And at this point, the Lions had quite the lead. So, well, what I liked about this game was how many times the Vikings fought back. Vikings fought back a lot in this game, really in position to win at the end. But the Lions just continue to claw back. And again, when you see, you know, that was Jefferson with a late touchdown. When you see the Lions, you know, first of all, coming out to that big a lead, it's good to see. But they held on to that lead. Also good to see. Still able to get into the backfield, into the opponent's backfield, even with Hutchinson hurt. I think it was a big step forward for the Lions defense in general. As you see Jefferson with his trademark, and just your vintage, you know, NFC North back and forth battle. Again, St. Brown just absolutely killing it. There you see him again, and avoiding a huge hit here, and able to round it. And actually, that was Raymond. Here you go with Darnold again. Making great reads, great throws, and that's a great play by Naylor right there. Just being able to stick with the ball, stick with the play, knowing he didn't get touched. Then you see St. Brown involved throughout the whole game. You know, and then here you see that the Lions up 28-20, and look at this beautiful read right here to Addison. So it's not just Jefferson. It's Addison, it's Naylor, it's Osborne. I think he played today, but and pretty soon you're gonna have their tight ends coming back. So you gotta really watch out for what's going on with Minnesota. And then the last game we're gonna talk about is the the Raiders and Rams. Raiders and Rams. So that was kind of a, you know, blah game. I think a lot of people saw the Raiders as they're going to give you their best shot, but the Rams ultimately behind the running attack. I personally, look, Stafford is doing what he can with a very depleted offense. You're not seeing Nakua, you're not seeing Cup. So Stafford kind of pulled him in the last second, put in Richardson. Glad I did. I only got about 19 from Richardson, which was more than I was going to get from Stafford, and I was correct. Bowers having a tremendous rookie season, tight end, in short supply in the NFL, but he's more than making up for it. Constantly involved, definitely looking like their number one option. But you're just not seeing a lot of balance when it comes to the Raiders. Raiders have Madison that sometimes goes off, usually around the goal line, but he's not really busting out any of these 30, 40 yarders that you're going to need. But you did see that from Williams. Williams was just a workhorse, just pounding the ball. And here you can see the Raiders just kind of too fast, too soon back there. Stafford just getting absolutely destroyed. You wonder how much more of those he can take. And as the game went along, you saw the Raiders attempting it to run it, attempting it to take control of that game clock, but it just was not to be. I think you can do it. Can you sustain it? That's really the key to what's going on with NFL offenses. This day and age is like, yeah, you're good at the run. Can you be good at the run the whole game? It's pretty much what you're looking at. Kyren Williams, just really, earned his money yesterday. And what you saw in LA was you saw a Rams team that is going to fight right there with you. Only 2-4, that was their second win at home. But I think that they actually got outscored 9-6 in the second half. But they did enough to win. And in a division where you have the 49ers, who again are struggling, and where you have the Rams, that's the best you can hope to do. They're relying on going with, to players like this, their tight end. I think his name is Parkinson. Here we see Kyren Williams just, absolutely decimating that line, going through. Did a lot of that yesterday. And the Raiders down to kicking field goals. You wonder if that 5% that Tom Brady owns in the Raiders will help them out. But, not a fantastic game. And there you have it. Those were all the games. It's a lot to go through. I did not want it to be an hour long, but hopefully if you have time, you can watch it. But it's, week 7, definitely a lot went on. I think most notably you have some injuries in some places where I feel like that can open up opportunities for not just the teams, but for some of these fantasy players that sometimes are just completely handcuffed by, one guy that like what we're seeing in with the Browns there in that situation. But there you have it. First Light, first episode. Check with us next week. We'll be going through the Sunday's games as well. This has been a lot of fun. My name is Alejandro, and I'll see you next week.